precisely 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Lal Mallavarachi and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. The President is to leave for Singapore and Japan today. Tuition classes for 2022 O-level students is prohibited from today. Passports, NICs and all other documents related to births, marriages and deaths will be issued under one roof. Vouchers to the value of 20,000 rupees per hectare are now being provided to paddy farmers for the cultivation of the Yalla season. The 15th Annual National Conference on Cybersecurity is to be held today. In foreign news, India hosts G20 tourism meet in Kashmir amid tight security. We move on to local news in detail now. President Ranil Wickremesinghe will leave Sri Lanka today for an official visit to Singapore and Japan. He will be in Japan from the 25th to the 27th of May. During his visit, President Wickremesinghe is expected to hold bilateral discussions with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. President Wickremesinghe will address the Nikkei Forum Future of Asia, which is scheduled to commence on Thursday under the theme Leveraging Asia's Power to Confront Global Challenges. Additionally, meetings are planned with Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi, Finance Minister Sunichi Suzuki, and Digital Transformation Minister Taro Kono. This international conference convenes leaders to discuss political, economic and regional issues in the Asia-Pacific region. The President will engage with the Japan-Sri Lanka Business Cooperation Council, the Japan-Sri Lanka Parliamentary Friendship Association and the Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce in Japan. This is President Wickremesinghe's second visit to Japan during his current tenure following his attendance at the funeral of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe last year. While in Singapore, he will meet with Mr. K. Shanmugam, the Law and Home Affairs Minister, along with high-ranking diplomats. The conducting and organizing of all tuition classes aimed at students scheduled to sit for the upcoming 2022 GCE Ordinary Level Examination has been prohibited from midnight today. Accordingly, the Commissioner General of Examinations said all tuition and revision classes being held for 2022 O-level exam session will be prohibited. In addition, printing of question papers containing target questions, distributing them, advertising that the questions in the examination papers are distributed via handouts, electronic or printed media is also completely prohibited. The Department of Examinations mentioned that complaints can be made regarding any person or entity who violates these orders. The 2022 Ordinary Level Exams is scheduled to be held from the 29th of May to the 8th of June. Public Security Minister Tiran Alas says the Suhurupaya building will be converted to a one-stop shop to obtain passports, NICs and all other documents related to births, marriages and deaths. At a news briefing, he said that this one-stop office will be open for the public within 2 months. Apart from that, the Registrar General's Department will so be brought to the Suhurupaya building. After opening, the people will be able to obtain all their documents from the same building. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news. Moving on to more local news, vouchers to the value of 20,000 rupees per hectare are now being provided to paddy farmers for the cultivation of the Yalla season. The program was officially launched at the Agriculture Ministry Auditorium yesterday. Accordingly, the government has decided to provide the necessary financial allocation in the form of subsidy vouchers to 650,000 farmers with the purchase of chemical or organic fertilizers in order to reduce the production costs of the farmers who cultivate paddy in the upcoming Yalla season. Minister Amaravira emphasized that the financial allocations will be provided upon the approval of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The 15th Annual National Conference on Cybersecurity, organized by the Sri Lanka Computer Emergency Readiness Team, will take place at the water's edge today. The theme of this year is Elimination of Corruption for a Prosperous, Secure and Stable Sri Lanka. Experts and professionals in the IT field will take part in this event. Tickets for the event are available to anyone who is interested in the IT field. That's local news for the moment.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Minister Bandula Gunawardena says that action is being taken to create a developed media culture in the island. With this aim, the Advisory Committee of Ministry of Mass Media will be convened on Friday. The minister made this statement gracing the 7th meeting of the Asian Media and Cultural Association held in Colombo as the chief guest. He also said that Sri Lankan journalists will be given the opportunity to engage in higher studies soon. A new program in this regard will be launched with the Sri Lanka Foundation Institute. The draft to establish a national commission for films has already been prepared. A school for cinematography will be established in collaboration with India. That's the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on Watchlight, the National Dengue Control Unit has launched a Dengue Prevention Week in the northwestern province yesterday in view of the rise in dengue patients at an alarming rate. Community medical specialists of the unit, Dr. Indika Veerasinghe, stated that the Dengue Prevention Week will be in effect up to the 28th of May. Dr. Veerasinghe further urged the people living in the northwestern province to be supportive when the medical officers of health and medical teams arrive at their respective houses, offices or schools to inspect the possible mosquito breeding grounds. Dr. Indika Veerasinghe also appealed to the general public to consult a government doctor immediately in case of lasting fever for over 2 days. That's on Watchlight. Moving on to world news headlines. India hosts G20 tourism meet in Kashmir amid tight security. Saboteurs cross from Ukraine into Russia's Belgorod region. Buckingham Palace rejects calls to return Ethiopia's royal's body. World news in detail. India is holding a key G20 tourism meeting in Kashmir amid heightened security and opposition from China. The working group meeting is being held in Srinagar, the summer capital of the federally administered territory, from Monday to Wednesday. This is the biggest international event organized in the region since India scrapped its special status in 2019. Over 60 delegates from G20 member countries are expected to attend the event. A group of saboteurs has crossed from Ukraine into Russia's Belgorod region, with resulting clashes injuring several people, the Russian authorities say. Local governor Vyacheslav Gladkov said Russian forces were searching for the group, which he said had attacked Grayvoronsky district by the border. Vladimir Putin's spokesman said the Russian president had been informed. Ukraine denies responsibility and said Russian citizens from two paramilitary groups who were behind the attack. Finally, on world news, Buckingham Palace has declined a request to return the remains of an Ethiopian prince who came to be buried at Windsor Castle in the 19th century. Prince Alemayehu was taken to the UK aged just 7 and arrived an orphan after his mother died on the journey. Queen Victoria then took an interest in him and arranged for his education and ultimately his burial when he died aged just 18, but his family wants his remains to be sent back to Ethiopia. But in a statement, Buckingham Palace spokesperson said removing his remains could affect others buried in the catacombs of St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle. That's on World News.
Development News.
The construction of the second phase of the eastern terminal of the Colombo port commenced under the patronage of Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation, Nimal Siripala de Silva. Speaking at the event, the minister said that a port will not develop by just constructing terminals. Furthermore, he mentioned that the construction work of the first phase of the East Container Terminal of the Colombo port will be completed by the end of this year. The minister also emphasized that he hopes to compete with other private terminals and earn a higher higher income once the construction work is completed. That's on development news. Moving on to sports news. 4 years after his retirement from international cricket, Mahendra Singh Dhoni has successfully transformed himself into a formidable lower-order batsman for the Chennai Super Kings, his Indian Premier League team. Sports journalist Suresh Menon reflects on the remarkable reinvention of the 41-year-old cricketing superstar. When the IPL is done and dusted this season, it might not be a bad idea to give the trophy a name. If anyone symbolizes the tournament and what it means to the fans, it has to be Dhoni. He has been the face of IPL forever. The MS Dhoni Trophy has a nice ring to it. Dhoni was the most expensive player in the inaugural edition in 2008. 15 years later, he continues to be Chennai Super Kings' most valuable player. That's on sports news.
Go youth life change niyameta set as wahagena dagpuhina habe youth niyameta set friendship ekamenna.
The all-new NSB Itru account, NSB I Am, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Sri Lanka's consumer landscape is facing challenges in 2023, but the supermarket sector is more stable, supported by Essentials, a consumer goods manufacturer and retailer with a network of more than 130 stores, he said. Krishan Balendra, chairman of Ceylon Cold Stores, says manufacturing sector is expected to face challenges in immediate to short term in lieu of the current macroeconomic landscape. That's on Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go youth life change niyameta set as wahagena dagpuhina habe youth niyameta set friendship ekamenna.
The all-new NSB Itru account, NSB I Am, a plan for your dream.
And on economic news, the Statistics Department said Sri Lanka's National Consumer Price Index inflation eased to 33.6% year-on-year in April after a 49.2% rise in March. The NCPI captures broader retail price inflation and is released with a lag of 21 days every month. Food prices eased sharply to 27.1% in April from 42.3% in March, while non-food inflation was at 39%.
Weather report.
The Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in eastern and Ubon provinces and in Polonnaruwa district during the evening or night. A few showers will occur in western and coastal areas and in Gaul and Mathura districts during the morning too. That's the weather update, and back to the headlines before we wind up this bulletin of news. The President is to leave for Singapore and Japan today. Tuition classes for 2022 O-level students is prohibited from today. Passports, NICs and all other documents related to births, marriages and deaths will be issued under one roof. Vouchers to the value of 20,000 rupees per hectare are now being provided to paddy farmers for the cultivation of the Yalla season. The 15th Annual National Conference on Cybersecurity is to be held today. Foreign news: India hosts G20 tourism meet in Kashmir amid tight security. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news.